Okay, YouTube, this is Zach here with Savage Traveling today. We're going to talk about motorbiking across Vietnam. It's something I did last year. Well, I only made it halfway across Vietnam, but it's an amazing experience nonetheless. Like, it took me 21 days to get to Da Nang from Ho Chi Minh City. I took my time. And by the time I got to Da Nang, I was kind of over it and ready to go to Thailand. Because, like I said, I like Thailand too, but and it was my first time to Vietnam, so it was like a little bit overwhelming. You know, a whole new experience, a whole new culture to try to adapt to. You know what I'm saying? So by the time I, took 21 days to get to Da Nang, which it shouldn't take most people that long to get there, but as I found out, most places, homestays, and accommodations in Vietnam are extremely hospitable and offer a mini bar fully stocked with, like amazingly cheap local Vietnamese beers. And I mean, it's hard to stay away from those, especially after being out. Like, say you go out into the town you're in and you visit the local haunts there, the places to drink, the nightlife scenes or whatever. You go out to eat, have a few drinks. Yeah, you know what you do when you travel. You meet people, have drinks or whatever. But and then you go back to the room and then you have a mini bar that's just there. So it would, yeah. Long story short, is I would stay an extra night or two in places when I really probably didn't need to, but like I needed to rest from all the fun I was having. So keep that in mind. Definitely, is Vietnam is a lot of fun, and it may take you longer to really do things than you think it should. Just because, like, well, with me, I just wanted to experience it and just soak it up. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really friendly, like I said, an amazingly accommodating place. And when you're weaving through the countryside on a motorbike, and you're seeing real Vietnam, you just want to soak it in, I guess. So um, let's see, where should I go from there? But like I said, my experience was like I flew into Ho Chi Minh City. It takes me several days to get over jet lag. So like I had like factored that in. So I waited a few days to get my motorbike. Like I rented one. But after 4 or 5 days of resting, like literally it takes me that long to get where I sleep all day, whatever. It takes me a while to get my head on straight after flying 22 hours around the world. It's like 8,500 miles away from where I live to Vietnam. So after that, like I'd set up to rent my motorbike from a place called Ticket Motorbikes. They're in like Ho Chi Minh, Da Nang, Hanoi, and I think Dalat now. They have an office in each of those cities where you can either pick up or drop off a bike. So like I didn't want to have to like fly in and try to buy a piece of junk motorbike. I wanted one I could count on and I could trust to not break down and leave me on the side of the road, like near dark. I didn't want to be stuck out on the side of the road at dark. I know it sounds like an adventure to some, but I'm not 22 or 3 anymore, whenever that sounded fun. You know what I mean? So I decided to rent one from this place that I'd found on YouTube called Ticket Motorbikes. I'll leave all the information below. This isn't a sponsorship or anything. They just were really, they rented me a really good bike, a Honda Winter 150cc, like 5-speed, I think. Pretty much a brand new motorbike, way more power than I needed most of the time. Like there was some times in the mountains where I was glad I had the 5 speeds and that extra, like 30 cc's or 40 cc's, whatever it is, over the Honda Blades, which are 110. So yeah. I would, like I said, I would stick to real Hondas, though. I know a lot of kids, they watch the YouTube videos, or people, and they see these other people doing the trip on these junk Chinese fake Honda bikes. That I'll leave a picture of one right now if I remember to. And there are that I never ridden one across Vietnam, so I can't really say. But from everybody I hear, they're in the shop every other day or every day, either changing oil or fixing something, yada yada, because it's just cheap Chinese junk. And when you're trying to take 1,000-mile trip across like unforgiving terrain at times, or roads and backcountry roads and mountains and stuff, you want a real bike that's not going to let you down. So I'm serious. This is Yamaha too, like a real Yamaha or a real Honda. You're setting yourself up a little better than a lot of kids you'll meet along the way, because you'll see them with these junk bikes. You'll talk to them at the hostels and the bars and stuff, and they'll tell you about how many times they are like trying to source a mechanic on the side of the road, which I know it sounds fun to some, but like I said, I'm not 25 or 2 or whatever, so that's not really what I'm looking to do on my one time at, who knows, a decade in some people's cases, of getting out to come to Vietnam to motorbike across it. So I mean, you got to really think about your priorities when you're doing this, because you don't want to be left on the side of the road after dark. Trust me, you really don't. So there's 3 bikes I do recommend, maybe 4. It'd be the Honda Blade 110 cc. It's an automatic, or what do you want to say? You don't shift. I think they call it something else, though. I don't think they call it an automatic transmission. I could be mistaken, but maybe it's semi-automatic, I think. But either way, you don't really shift, and it's 110 cc, and it's a smaller bike than the Honda Winter, the one I was just talking about, the one which is a 150 cc 5 speeds. So it's a big difference. But I found when you're in traffic, in Vietnamese traffic, I was having trouble with so many gears. I wish I would, many times riding through tight Vietnamese traffic with the Vietnamese, I said to myself that I wanted an automatic bike. I just felt like I had more power than everybody else around me, and I just felt like I was going to run over people. So if I do make it back this summer to Vietnam to motorbike, I really want to, I'm going to probably, and I'll probably regret it, but I'm going to go with a semi-automatic, either a Honda Blade or a Yamaha Nuovo. Something that's a little smaller than what I did last time, or than what I rode last time. But I really want to go slower and I want to, I don't want to be overtaking Vietnamese on the highway. There's no sense in it. I'm going to take my time. And, like I said, it took me 21 days to get to Da Nang. So I just, my goal this next time would be to, spend less days in each city, just to, get a little farther down the road a little faster. So, but other than that, I would just stay away from the cheap Chinese fake Honda bikes. Like I said, I'll blast pictures of them up every time I mention one, just so you can see the difference of each bike. And because like I said, you get on a nice Honda or a nice Yamaha, either you can buy one. I'm not saying don't buy one on the street. That's like I said, I'm going to rent one myself, but just make sure it's a real Honda or a real Yamaha. Don't get one of these Honda Win 110s. It's not even a Honda. That's a cheap Chinese fake. And they don't have oil filters, so you have to stop and change your oil every, 200 or 300 kilometers. It's not very far. With the Honda 150cc, the Honda Winter 150cc that I rented from Ticket, now if I only had to do the oil change once, which was in Da Nang. Now it was supposed to be halfway, because I'd rented the bike to go to Hanoi, but like I said, I got to Da Nang and decided I was done motorbiking Vietnam. So, I had the oil change at the Honda head shop in Da Nang, and then I turned it into to the shop there in Da Nang, ticket shop in Da Nang, and they gave me my deposit back on my credit card, and then I went up, I caught a flight to Bangkok and enjoyed another month in Thailand after the 21 days in Vietnam. So I say I'm all about the renting, so I just didn't want to land and have to try to sell it in Hanoi or Da Nang. Like I said, I wasn't going to be able to sell the bike in Da Nang anytime soon. You know what I mean? If I bought one and I would have just had to left it, and then I'd been out my money, which I was out my money renting a bike, if you think about it like that. But that money that I'm out, I spent on the reliability of renting a serviced motorbike, a newer serviced motorbike from a reputable business, I guess. Like that's where I thought about it as. It's like, yeah, I may not be getting my money back if I bought one and sold it at the end of my trip, but I'm getting a really good bike that's damn near brand new, and I can return it when I'm done with it. I just want to say, look at my route. I started in Saigon, and then I rode out. Took all day to get to Katyn National Park, where I stayed on a river in some little bungalow. Stayed there for a few days, maybe just one night. I don't remember. Uh, and then from there, I went to Dalat, which is a little mountain town. Beautiful, lots of waterfalls and different things. Um, I was there 3 or 4 days, six, seven, $8 a night rooms. When I was there, it was just brilliantly cheap. I mean, the whole of Vietnam was when I was there. There was last winter. I don't know if it was low season or it's just. I think it's always like that, but I mean, because you go to Vietnam or you go to Thailand from the United States, and it's cheap compared to the United States. A lot of things are if you're looking for a deal, it's there. But then you go to Vietnam and like it's like half the cost of Thailand. I mean, it has to be uh, pretty cool. I said from Dalat to Nha Trang, and I stayed. Nha Trang was a place where I ran into some American friends that like friends of friends, and I ended up staying an extra night in Nha Trang. Just a little under the weather. And from Nha Trang, I went to some. I don't even know what the city was called because it was like I stayed out at this hostel on the beach, but the beach was like washed away because it was a monsoon season, so there wasn't nothing to do on the beach. I'll leave the video link above because I did make a video while I was there, but I don't remember what the place was called. Quai Nan, maybe? I don't know. It was in between Nha Trang and Hoi An. And then, I mean, I ended up in Hoi An for a few nights, which was really nice, except for the place. I went out for drinks one night, and they were like, "Oh, the week shut the gate after a certain time," and I came back like way before they shut the time to shut the gate was, where they locked you out of the place. And like I ended up like I banged on the gate. I was under the weather, inebriated, but I was like, "Let me in," and because I didn't want to like break in or like sound like a crazy man, but I'm sure it sounded crazy. And eventually, I just had to hop the fence and climb into the place over the gate and like. Uh, they keep your passports there, so I don't know if that was a thing. I don't remember if I had to get something out of I don't remember. But the guy was in there like passed out. He was snoring. He didn't know. He didn't hear me yelling. He didn't hear me come over the fence or nothing. It was hilarious. Nice little place for $8 or $9 a night though. I don't know if I got any video of that place. I don't remember. So I might have to go back and look. But Hoi An was a really cool little city, like the ancient city of Hoi An. It's really it's French inspired. It's a French stronghold, I believe, at some point in history, and you could really tell it in the architecture of the place. It's real beautiful. It was like a giant tourist trap, though. I'm sure if you got out of the center and went elsewhere, it probably wasn't so touristy. But the center is definitely just like a tourist haven, hell, whatever you want to call it. And then from Hoi An, I was just a short drive to Da Nang, and then I was digging Da Nang. I really liked Da Nang, and then I just decided like the weather wasn't looking very good in the north, is why I never ended up going further too. I was tired, and then like I was just sick of riding wet. Like I was wet a lot of the times. I'd bought a rain suit from Walmart before I left. It was like a Frog Togs, like $10 or $15 rain suit was the best investment that I made the whole trip, or for the trip, other than the motorbike itself, is a freaking rain suit. Don't forget to bring it because they have them in Vietnam, but I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find something like what I found at Walmart in Vietnam. You can get your, your poncho trash bags and stuff in Vietnam, which I'm sure they sell somewhere, but I just brought it from home, and it like the only problem with the Frog Tog rain suit was that like when you zipped it up, it trapped the heat in, and like yeah, it's raining in Vietnam. It's still 85 degrees or whatever, or in the south it was. So yeah, it's awesome place. Bring a drone if you're brave enough to because it could get confiscated. You never know. You just got to be safe about where you're flying it. You don't be flying it around officials. So that's just asking for it anywhere these days. Like I said, room, food, and beer is extremely cheap in Vietnam. Like it's cheap, cheap. Uh, I mean, if you can afford Thailand, you can definitely afford Vietnam. So I mean, probably twice as long or close to it. So yeah, that was my route: Saigon, Katyn, Dalat, Nha Trang. I think Quai Nan, something like that. Hoi An and Da Nang, and then hopefully next trip I'm gonna start in Saigon again and hopefully make the whole way north this time. But anyways, guys, that's about all I can think of about riding motorbike in Vietnam right now. I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that I could talk about it, but we're at like 15 minutes and a half minutes, so probably best I wrap this one up right now. So I appreciate you guys for watching, and if this is your first time and you made it this far in a video, hit that thumbs up and maybe even subscribe button, and get back for more videos because I'm going to keep making them, and I will eventually get out of the United States of America and go somewhere once the skies open back up. That is, because we are in uncertain times still. If you're watching this, when it comes out. So, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Peace.